Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squad for boxing news and views from around the internet. Don't be shocked when Andy Ruiz Jr. weighs in and tips the scales around 260 pounds for his rematch with Anthony Joshua. That goes down December 7th in Saudi Arabia at the Diriyah Stadium. So I think with this whole weight loss thing, I think there's been a number of things that have been bubbling along in the media, a few false narratives that have taken hold, and I think a few people have got a little turned around on the issue, and I wanted to talk about that because it will be somewhere there or thereabouts around 260 pounds, and Andy Ruiz Jr. is now saying as much, and there's a little bit of video evidence that does support this whole 260 pounds, and people who've been saying he'll weigh 220, 230, 240, I think they've got turned around on this whole issue because it sort of neglects where did he start from, and I'll get to that. Also in this video, Ruiz Jr., he's been to the new stadium and he's saying he's going to do anything and everything to win. But we'll start with the weight issue first because it's been a massive talking point in the build-up, the 3-month build-up ahead of this rematch on December 7th. And there was a lot of concern that started to bubble up as Ruiz Jr. started to slim down, and obviously there were some photos where certain lighting, certain angles, certain posing, certain clothing did make it look like he'd lost a considerable amount of weight. And don't get me wrong, he has been losing weight, and Ruiz Jr. believes he will be about 8 pounds or so less than he was against Joshua the first time around. He was 268 pounds on June 1st in New York. But where people have got turned around on this whole issue is the starting point for the weight. I think a lot of people have just assumed he was at his old fight weight as he entered camp, but it clearly wasn't the case. And this graphic here illustrates the point. This was Ruiz Jr. prior to his fight on June 1st. This was Ruiz Jr. at the start of the press conference tour. There's a big difference. Ruiz Jr. after his fight had clearly enjoyed himself and he'd put on some pounds. He must have entered camp somewhere around 290 pounds. And that's seemingly confirmed by some statements Manny Robles made in recent weeks where he said Ruiz Jr. had lost about 30 pounds in camp. But he's not going to keep going down and down and down. They have been, from what I can tell, maintaining his weight at roughly the same level for a few weeks now. So if he dropped down 30 pounds, that means he's about 260. And Ruiz, in the last day or two, has confirmed he's going to come in somewhere around 8 pounds lighter than his last fight. And the key thing here is, that's not going to necessarily be a massive issue. Some of the criticism which Ruiz has tried to address by saying people are saying he's going to be lesser than he was because he shed a little bit of weight, all that sort of stuff. And sure, he's lost a decent amount of weight in camp, but in the context of a fighting weight, which he's used to, 260 pounds is literally about bang on for where he normally fights. The 268-pound weight which he weighed in for June 1st was heavier than he normally had been. It was one of his heavier weights in recent years, whereas around the late 250s, early 260s is about where he had been fighting. For his title fight with Joseph Parker, he got down to 255. That was in 2016. The fight with Alexander Dimitrenko just weeks before the Joshua fight was 262. So Andy Ruiz Jr. coming in roughly 8 pounds or so, even if it's 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever it ends up being, it's not going to be a big deal. He is going to be the same fighter. He will be doing what he normally does. And what would be the reason to come in slightly less than he was for the first fight? Well, he will know what Anthony Joshua's most likely strategy is going to be, which will be to somewhat box on the back foot, move and try to make it difficult for Ruiz Jr. And obviously, if Joshua is giving Ruiz some movement, Ruiz wants his cardio to be strong. He wants, obviously the extra rubble doesn't always necessarily help you. And being a little bit less is probably going to help him in terms of his fitness, his general stamina, especially if this one goes much deeper into the fight. I mean, Ruiz Jr. never had a lot of trouble with, fitness and cardio, but being around 260, which is a weight he's fought at and looked good at, I don't have any issues with that at all. And I don't think people should get hung up on 260, the actual number. If it was 230 or 240, which I've seen some people talking about, sure, you could go, well, what has he lost through, dropping so much weight? I mean, you have to remember his lowest ever weight is in the mid 240s, so he was never going to fall that low. But he's lost roughly 30 pounds in camp from what we're hearing. He's affirmed that again, saying he's going to be about 260. It's a good weight for him. In terms of the stadium, you may recall Anthony Joshua was there just a couple of days ago, and here it is on screen. So panning around. Obviously, in the few days since, they're starting to get the ring set up in there. So they've got the different columns and other bits and pieces that are going to go up. The piece that's overhanging the lights and other bits and pieces, it's all getting constructed. It's going to be up. Obviously, there's not long to go, less than 10 days out from the fight. And Ruiz Jr., he said of the stadium, it's amazing, man. It's crazy how they built everything in a month and a half. It's amazing to be fighting over here. It's going to be really historic, and I'm planning to make history over here. And of the upcoming fight, Ruiz Jr. says, right now, we are meditating, we are preparing, we're getting sharper in the ring and training as well. We are visualizing the fight and becoming victorious. To all my fans, please come and support me. It's going to be a huge fight. It's Clash on the Dunes. We are two big guys fighting each other, looking to be heavyweight champion of the world. He's trying to take my belts away, so I'm going to do everything that's possible to win, and I'm going to do it for all my people. They can expect to see someone who's not giving up and doing everything possible to win. God willing, we are going to take this victory. And Ruiz Jr. brought along Gerald Washington for his final preparations, and he has been getting some sparring in. Whether it's, hard sparring, light sparring, technical sparring, it's a little unclear, but this is something from his Instagram.
Yeah, another 12 rounds of working. Getting it in, baby. Here with the team. With the homeboy Gerald. Yeah, putting in these rounds. Got the whole team right here. Right here, right here, right here. Got this man right here. Where's he at? Where's he at?
And obviously Andy Ruiz Jr., being an American celebrating Thanksgiving abroad, this is something he's been doing in Saudi Arabia. And here in the background, he's just taking through the different spread that has been set up for him and his team. So I'm sure he would have been watching it to some extent, but he is a heavyweight, so he doesn't have to make weight, but he won't be going crazy either, I imagine. But yeah, Ruiz Jr., the whole weight issue, it's been fascinating because everyone's been hung up on it. There was a strategy for the first fight where he put on a few extra pounds because he wanted to be heavier. Now it seems like he's going back to his normal fighting weight, which is around 260. I don't see any issues at all. He will be strong. He will be ready. But what do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.